All right. Welcome to NCBA's Coffee Break. I'm Nathan Willner, NCBA's Government Affairs Officer, and I'm excited to kick off a new series of conversations with lawyer legislators, which makes that really fantastic that we have a lawyer legislator with us. Joining us today is Maryland Delegate Dalya Attar, who is not only a lawyer, but is an elected member of the state legislature. So let's get right to it. Delegate Attar, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Nate. It's a pleasure to be with you on this.
Well, thanks. As an attorney, our members are interested in knowing, how those two roles mesh together. So maybe tell us a little bit about your background as an attorney, how you found yourself today as not only as a practicing member of the Maryland Bar, but also a member of the Maryland House of Delegates.
Absolutely. So I became an attorney about 8.5 years ago now. I went to University of Baltimore undergrad and then University of Maryland Law School. I've always lived in Baltimore City, went to school here. And when I graduated, I went to work for the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office as a prosecutor. I worked there for about 8 years, loved every day of it. But I also realized that we need to see progress and we need to see some change. And just prosecuting individuals is not going to make that happen. We need to change things from the policy perspective. And that's when I decided, okay, I need to broaden my horizons and I need to start looking at what else is out there. And that's when I decided to get involved in the legislature. I ran for office about, I think 6 years ago was when I began campaigning. I won my first election for the House of Delegates about 5 years ago, won my second term this year. So I'm now serving my 5th year in the legislature. I just finished my 5th session back in April. And I've seen it open a whole new door for me. I've seen now that policy can be changed, that we can now implement, and our prosecutors can work with those new policies. And it makes a huge difference in changing the social aspect in life. And I represent Baltimore City. I also was a prosecutor in Baltimore City. We see lots of negativity in the news. There's also a lot of positive that we don't see, but I'm able to see all of that now that I'm a little bit on the outside working on policy as well.
So yeah, it sounds like you are making a difference down there in a place that's not always that easy to make a difference. Your colleagues are often referred to as lawmakers in the media and by other journalists. And I was really surprised to learn how few are actually licensed attorneys or have any background in the law. So from your perspective, what role does being an attorney play down there in the legislature and as a member of the House of Delegates?
So interestingly, I was just as shocked, if not even more, once I began working there to find out how many people are not lawyers. And like you said, we are called lawmakers. We are making the laws, and many of us aren't lawyers. Originally, I was like, okay, this is strange. This should not be. But then I realized how we make laws that touch every single subject, all different subject areas, and we make laws that affect the entire state of Maryland. And every person brings their own background. We have engineers, we have doctors, we have accountants, we have anything you could think of in the legislature. And I realized that yes, being a lawyer, you have that huge plus and that huge advantage in that we learned how to analyze laws. We learned how to analyze the background. Even in law school, they were teaching us about legislative process. That is just part of it. Also, when there are topics that are related to the courts, we have an entire committee that's all they focus on. Sometimes when you're not working and you're not seeing the practical side of it, it's not so easy to connect the two. But I could say the same thing about, we pass laws about healthcare, and I've never been in the medical field. So yes, I can read and understand the law very well, but I don't see the practical side of it. So it definitely has its advantages being a lawyer and being a lawmaker. It would be nice if we had some more lawyers because of those advantages. But I don't want to put down the fact that there are so many others who are not lawyers because of how important that is as well. We are a legislature made up of citizens, and we do have, like I said, having those doctors on our healthcare committee, those accountants on our Ways and Means committee, it is extremely important. And I personally am on the Ways and Means committee, and I'm a lawyer. And yes, I don't have the accounting background for the taxes, and I don't have all that. But from my legal perspective, I'm able to see so many different things and bring in my perspective. There are, I believe, 2 lawyers, maybe three are on my committee, I think, if I'm just thinking very quickly. So our perspective is also very helpful.
So that is a great segue to my next question. The National Creditors Bar, we work closely with the American Bar Association as well. And one of our primary focuses is advocating for attorneys that their primary regulation of the practice of law should only be done by the judiciary and not by any other regulatory body, including the legislature, despite how many things the legislature is involved in. So, the question is, do you find situations where proposed legislation, while well-intentioned, would contradict the model rules of professional conduct or other court policies and procedures from your perspective? And, how do you kind of reconcile those two things, when you are dealing with your colleagues?
That's actually a great question, because I've been put on both sides of this and I've seen both sides of it. So we have separation of powers. You have the judiciary, you have the legislature, and there are times when the legislature does get involved in what's going on with the judiciary. And there are times when I believe it is appropriate. But then there are other times, like when people, especially ones who are not, whether they're lawyers or not practicing lawyers, they don't realize when they first put in the bill that this can lead to harming our clients. We have our attorney-client privilege. That is there for a very important reason. It's not there just simply because someone decided to put it in and it doesn't matter. It is there for a very important reason. And if us as lawyers are then going to have to disclose information, which I've seen happening, there's been federal regulations that they've tried to put in place that will lead to disclosures of our clients' personal information, sometimes without even our clients' knowledge, our clients' finances, things like that, that harms the legal world. It just does cause a lot of harm. It will lead to a distrust between us and our clients. It can also lead to us putting our clients in a terrible situation that they don't even know we put them in. We are there to protect our clients. That is what our job is. In the Constitution, our clients deserve the protections. It's in our Constitution, and that's why we are here. And there are times when legislation is proposed, and I can tell you from what I see, it's not because people are trying to harm us. They just are not looking at it from our perspective. Once I discuss it with them and we see it from our perspective, it's like, okay, wait, we need to take a step back. This is not our intention, and this can lead to harming our clients. And that is something that we cannot have happen. But there are other times that I have seen that the legislature getting involved with how the judiciary works, it is helpful, and it's not from a perspective that's going to hurt our clients. It's more of like processes and the administrative side of things. There are times when we do get involved, and it's not to their detriment. I know we've gotten involved when it comes to evictions, for example, with enhancing the process. Currently, I hear from a lot of people that they have a lot of complaints with how the process is moving. It's harming the residents, it's harming the landlords. And there are times like that when we get involved, but we have to make sure that our involvement is not going to lead to harming anyone's client. And it's not going to lead to lawyers having to disclose information they should not be required to disclose. We have to continue to keep sacred that attorney-client privilege. We have to continue to keep sacred our positions as attorneys.
That makes me feel much better that you're down there protecting the practice of law. I understand the operations, so to speak, of the court system, but it sounds like you are lockstep with our concept that attorneys should be making decisions for what's best for their clients and not anyone else. And that's the cornerstone of being a lawyer. So with that, Delegate, I hope we're running out of time. I hope you'll agree to come back one day and we can kind of go over some of these questions again and other types of areas of law that I'm sure you have a lot to add. But again, thank you so much for joining the National Creditors Bar Association for a quick coffee break. And with that, I'll give you back your time to get back to work representing all of us. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for all that you do. Stay well.
Thank you.